All right. Good morning, folks. Hopefully you can see me and hear me because I am dealing with a hot mess on fire with my network instantly. Today is Thursday, March 31st. Welcome to First Things First, Simply Cyber's daily morning cybersecurity threat briefing. I am your host, Gerald Auger, and in the next 30 minutes, we're going to be going on and delivering the top cybersecurity news stories of the day to you, and I will provide my expert analysis on each of these stories, on what it means to you as a practitioner, or if you're an individual looking to break into the industry. It's going to be wildly valuable for you to know what's going on. I'm telling you, it will blow interviewers' minds away when you're telling them stuff that they need to know about. Shout out and thanks to this stream's sponsor, Barricade Cyber Solutions, your partner for incident response, ransomware protection, and business recovery. Eric Taylor and the whole group over at Barricade do excellent work. If your system or your environment or your company is getting compromised, you may want to consider giving Eric and Barricade a call. If you are live, love it. I saw Daedry Diamond in chat. What's up, Daedry? Good to see you. Thank you all for being here. Maybe you're coming over from Java with Josh. Love what he's doing. Thank you. If you're watching on replay, thanks for, let me start that timer. Thanks for catching the stream. I know it's tough in different time zones. If you want to jump right to the news, when that ticker in the corner gets to 0, we will be starting. So you can just go ahead and scrub the video all the way to the right, dive into the top cyber news stories. But for the next 2 minutes, 41 seconds, I'll be welcoming all the folks in the stream, tipping a cup of coffee back, and having a good time. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Hey, Pamela, good to see you. Nathan, how you doing? Good. What's up? Carrie, good to see you. Hey, Karen, love the daily briefing. Love having you here in the daily briefing. Let's change this. Guys, remember, simplycyber.io/Discord if you want to join the Discord community. We're always doing lots of stuff. Guys, what do you think? Is this light like too bright? I'm kind of like blowing myself out here. Let's dim this just a tad. What's up? Pull root repeat. I love the celebrations. Christopher Word. Yes. Hold on. What's this? YouTube didn't come up. Are we having issues? What's this? Good morning. Good afternoon. My pleasure. My pleasure. Let me know if we got a problem, guys. Greg Jones. I'm seeing people on YouTube, so I'm not sure. Justin Gold, good to see you. You like the background? Yeah, check this out. We're slowly upgrading, right, guys? Whether it's a YouTube channel, whether it's your resume, whether it's your professional career, your student studying, try the way I approach it, 1% better every day. Just do something to move it forward. If you let things get stale or stagnant, it's easy for that to persist. If you do just a little bit each day, over time, it'll add up and you'll turn around and you'll look back 6 months later and you'll be like, geez, wow, look at this. This is pretty good. Love it, Justin. Hey, LinkedIn user, love the anonymity. Looking forward to another great show. Me too. I'm hoping it's going to be good. Paul Chadwick, I see you. Lupe. All right. Hey, Lupe, good to see you. Really appreciate all the kind words you've said about the GRC Analyst Masterclass, guys. Did some quick analysis. We're 2 weeks in. 2 weeks in, over 2,100 students, 1,500 actively taking the class. I don't have the numbers for how many completed it yet, but I've seen so many really nice things, nice comments on LinkedIn, YouTube. I even had a meeting yesterday. This is true. Had a meeting yesterday with a GRC hiring manager out of California who told me that he has open positions and multiple candidates have cited completing the course as why they're ready to help his organization dominate GRC. They may have said it slightly differently, but he said it's useful, it's helpful, it's enabling people to be more equipped for GRC work. I love it. Amatola, good to see you. Carrie, always nice, man. Keep pushing, Carrie. 60% is good. Spastic, eating that elephant, man. Absolutely. So it looks like we're at 000. So let's do it. Lupe, I don't want to share that org name. He might be doing some work with Simply Cyber. I didn't ask him. Yeah, I'm always reluctant to share until I get people's permission for stuff. Guys, we're going to dive into the stories. If you want to play along, check it out. CISOseries.com. CISOseries.com. David Spark and his group, they do a fantastic job. Every single day they're dropping this podcast, which enables Simply Cyber's First Things First to piggyback on it and us have a great time. So go there or sit back, relax, and enjoy the silky tones of my voice as we rip into the stories. Let's go.
From the CISO series, it's cybersecurity headlines.
It's Thursday, March 31st, 2022. Hackers abusing the power of subpoena. In the US, when a government or law enforcement agency wants to obtain information on a social media account or IP address tied to a cell phone, they submit a court-ordered warrant or subpoena, with most major platforms having pipelines to process the request. In cases of imminent harm, an authority can submit an emergency data request, which does not require court-approved documents. Brian Krebs reports that there is no way for platforms to determine if these requests are legitimate, with hackers using illicit access to police email systems to request information on people. These tactics were offered for sale by the hacking group Recursion team on forums back in 2021. Some of Recursion's members are believed to be active in Lapsus. Bloomberg sources say Apple, Meta, and possibly Snap provided customer data to hackers posing as law enforcement.
Yeah. All right, guys. So, it's a tale as old as time. All right. When some service or capability is made available with good intention in order to serve some, noble purpose, threat actors are going to observe it and identify techniques that can leverage it for financial gain or negative consequences. And unfortunately, the reality is we can't not make certain things available because of the potential of abuse. But these emergency court things, in order to get this data, posing as law enforcement is a crime all unto itself. But unfortunately, this is a thing, and geez, and I mean, it's basically easy, right? Instead of doing a data breach, pulling down the database and then selling it online for some value, they're just requesting it. It's a different exploit of a vulnerability, but at the end of the day, it's the same thing. It's exploiting. Guys, we talk all the time about vulnerabilities being like technical things, right? Like, oh, it's missing a patch, or you can do privilege escalation or whatever. A vulnerability is just a weakness in a system or process, right? It doesn't have to be technology. This is a vulnerable process, and the hackers have discovered how to exploit it. This will have to be remedied now, obviously, that it's been discovered. But don't always paint yourself into a corner of like, it's got to be a technical solution. It's got to be a technical hack. Processes can be broken too.
Lapsus claims hack of Globant. The extortion group posted on its Telegram channel, claiming to have stolen 70 gigabytes of data from the international software firm Globant. Screenshots of the folder show names of several global businesses, including Facebook, Apple, DHL, C-SPAN, and the bank BNP Paribas. The data linked to Apple appears to be developmental material for Globant's Be Healthy app, a health behavior tracker for employees. Despite the alleged arrest of Lapsus's leader by London police last week, the group said it was back from vacation on Telegram.
Okay. So a couple things here. One, the Lapsus, apparently, or, allegedly the mastermind of Lapsus, the 16-year-old out of Oxford, London, was arrested. Some other individuals were arrested. I think maybe 7 in all. So we thought we cut the head off Lapsus. They're still at it. They're still operating. Obviously, they had tentacles into different organizations. Remember, this is the threat actor group that basically took out for lack of a better term, a wanted ad, or a help wanted ad, saying, if you work at any organization that does telecommunications or video games or major providers, then give us access to your VPN credentials. Step aside. We'll give you a bunch of money, and you just turn your eyes away. So that's still a real technique. And guys, there isn't really anything kind of advanced persistent threat level about someone giving their credentials and allowing you to walk through the front door, right? So data exfiltration, all this stuff. So Lapsus is still very real. Although I would say that because the operators of Lapsus are 16 to 21 years old, the law enforcement officers are going to be able to lean very heavily on them and explain that your life could be spent in jail for the rest of your life unless you give up your co-conspirators, right? So I could see that happening. So Lapsus is continuing. It's still a threat, and I would imagine that we would see in the next couple weeks more arrests and a coordinated takedown of Lapsus because of people basically turning state's evidence, if you will, for lack of a better term. Yeah. So, I mean, this is just a big data dump. That's all it is. They do say they're back from vacation. Jokingly, not to make light of this, but jokingly, I did hear some people in the community say that they took time off to go to ShmooCon, just to go to a conference before they got back to work. So, whatever, threat actors are people too, right? They have working hours and R&R and vacation and stuff like that.
Brian Krebs sued by Ubiquity for defamation. The company filed a lawsuit in the Eastern District of Virginia, alleging that Krebs falsely accused the company of covering up a cyber attack. Ubiquity claims it promptly notified customers of the attack, followed by a public disclosure with an SEC filing. Krebs reported that Ubiquity downplayed the severity of a security backdoor that allowed for access to source code and credentials for Ubiquity devices. This lawsuit involves the source of Krebs' story, a Ubiquity employee named Nicholas Sharp, who allegedly contacted Krebs, framing the story as the action of an external actor. The lawsuit alleges Krebs later knew Sharp was the source of the actual hack, but maintained a story about an external actor to drive traffic to his site. Krebs did not reply to the allegations yet, on advice of counsel.
Okay, couple things, guys. If you don't know who Brian Krebs is, KrebsOnSecurity.com. He is essentially like an investigative reporter for the cybersecurity community. He is well known, kind of celebrity status. He does good work. Now, Ubiquity, he wrote a blog post about Ubiquity. They're suing him. Couple things going on here. One, that totally sucks for Brian Krebs. He definitely doesn't need to keep a sensationalized, dramatized, untrue story on his website in order to drive traffic. So there's a little bit of a reach by in the civil case. If I had to make an argument, $425 million is pretty substantial, Ubiquity. Jesus. So the story does say, or I read that it says that this law firm makes a habit of suing media companies. So like that's their bread and butter. That's their game plan. So we'll see where this goes. I don't know if Brian Krebs is, whatever. This is kind of hot trash, but whatever. One interesting thing to point out right here real quick, guys. Keep in mind, we say in the industry, like, hey, blog, start a YouTube channel, engage with people. This is potential. I mean, Brian Krebs is one person with a blog, right? And he's being sued for $425 million. So I'm not saying you need to incorporate and set up an LLC and all that other stuff as you're making your first Medium post, but be aware that when you are doing these things in the social public sphere, companies can come after you. And if you don't take precautions, right? Like, so Simply Cyber is part of a company and it's separate from my personal life because of things like this. So less cybersecurity, more best practice, because, we say do all these things to build a brand and to be, more marketable and network and stuff. But I want you to protect yourself too, right? There's risks.
UK regulator extends deadline for crypto registration. The UK's Financial Conduct Authority will extend its April 1st deadline for its approval of crypto operations in the country for firms that can prove they need more time. 12 firms remain on a temporary register of firms that applied for permission to operate while applications were considered. The FCA already approved 33 firms for permanent registration. Initially, hundreds of firms applied for temporary permission to operate while applications were ongoing, but many spun down operations in the UK due to the country's strict anti-money laundering rules.
Well, that's disgusting. So, okay. Great Britain, my UK people in chat, what's up? Good to see you. So much like in the United States, cryptocurrency in that whole world is very much like a wild, wild west kind of thing going on, right? So the governments are trying to put regulations and guardrails around it. And this is the UK's approach to kind of regulating that space. I mean, we're talking real money here, guys. Like it should be. Well, there's an argument to be made on whether or not it should be regulated or if it truly should be decentralized and not have government involved, which is the whole point behind it, right? So they have until this deadline to apply. What's interesting is that several have pulled out because of, I don't know if there's a direct correlation, but because of anti-money laundering laws and constraints around that, which just goes to show you that some of these companies realize that their major consumer base, the people who are paying their bills to keep their lights on and make the value of their company higher, are criminals, and they're hiding in the noise, right? I mean, these platforms are used for money laundering, frankly, right? And we'll talk about that, I think, in a second. I saw one of the other stories, but whatever. I don't want to say the circle is closing, but in 2, 3, 4 years, I would imagine that major first world countries are going to have very well-defined regulations around the management and the trade and the recording of who owns what within the crypto sphere.
And now a word from our sponsor, Verizon, as well as claim inactive usernames. This portal is meant to provide a streamlined way for media outlets to resolve issues with Facebook accounts, including helping with things like doxing and harassment or challenge content removals. Motherboard reports Upwork and other freelance hiring sites contain multiple listings looking for people with access to the media partner portal to verify accounts. People looking to verify pages use them to verify profiles for play-to-earn cryptocurrency games, as well as pages related to entertainment, sports, and startups.
Interesting. Verizon. Okay, so again, this is kind of similar to the story that we got a little while ago about the emergency data request without having to prove who you are. Facebook apparently has some type of portal, right? So it's a user interface that's not typically designed for consumers and end users, that allows CNN, Fox News, whatever, to verify an account. Well, again, this can be abused, right? If you design something with very specific intent, and this is why I love red teamers and why I frankly go to DEF CON and do the red team village, because I unfortunately don't really think this way, but I love it. Threat actors, real good ones, pen testers, red team people, they will think of ways to use the system in a way it was not designed for. And when you work within the constructs and policies of that system, but you still use it in a way it was not intended for, that is like quintessential hacker mindset, right? You're hacking how this tool, this process, this system works. So they say backdoor. I think that's a little salacious a term. It's basically a portal to allow you to verify and stuff like that. But obviously you can pull down other information. You can access different things. So it is interesting, worth looking into. Again, unless your business runs on Facebook, you may not be super concerned about that. Obviously, because it's Facebook, then Instagram would probably be in that, and whatever else. WhatsApp, I think, does Facebook own WhatsApp? Like whatever the Facebook portfolio of companies are, I'm sure the portal can do all that too. So, I guess if your business runs on that, you may want to investigate, but this is more of an interesting thing than it is anything to take action on.
Explain spam text messages from yourself. Verizon confirmed that it's investigating an increasing number of spam messages appearing to be sent from a user's own phone number. Verizon characterized these as coming from bad actors with no ties to the company and said it's engaged with U.S. law enforcement to stop the source of the activity, as well as working to block them on their network itself. While some users reported these spam texts send users to Russian state media networks, Verizon said we have no indication that this fraudulent activity is originating in Russia. While Verizon seems to be the only U.S. carrier network receiving an increased volume of these self-spam texts, it does not believe its network is compromised.
Okay. So here's the takeaway on that. Oh, thanks, Base. So here's the takeaway on this one, guys. And this one's a good for end users, okay? You have probably received spam phone calls. You probably have received spam text messages, right? It's hot trash. It's garbage. We know it happens. It's not super difficult, right? There's platforms like Twilio. Like, it's not super difficult to build a malicious campaign or platform to spam individuals, right? And whether you're going to do a phishing spam, like a smish, right? Like a phishing smish, which is an SMS phish, where it says, hey, your Office 365 account has been compromised. Log in now to, basically validate that it's not you and change your password or whatever, like whatever. Something that says like something bad's happening, click here, right? And then you go into a lookalike landing page, you put in your credentials, bad guy's got it now, and you're screwed. So this idea isn't new, but what's interesting is that because they're texting you from your own number, I believe the reason would be that it would just be more confusing to end users. So people like us, we in chat, the 83 of us together, we all would look at it and go, that's weird. But, maybe my aunt or maybe my grandmother. Like they're going to be confused. And if it just was a random number, maybe they disregard it. But if it comes from your own number, you may be like, this is really weird. I'm confused. I'm scared. I'm going to follow up on it. And I think that that's what's going on here. Also, there may be something with the inability to block it because it's your own phone number. Maybe that's causing some type of issue. Because I don't know about you guys, but when I get a random call, I block the number and add it to my block list and move on because I don't want that phone call anymore. So that's the deal with that. Interesting technique. Again, bad guys are constantly innovating. Okay, that's again, hat tip to the bad guys. I don't endorse what they do, but hat tip for their innovation and thought process.
Axie Infinity says it will reimburse losses. We reported yesterday on a hacker stealing over $600 million in Ethereum from the Ronin network bridge of the game Axie Infinity. Now the game's developer, Sky Mavis, said it's fully committed to reimbursing our players as soon as possible, although clarified that it's still working on a solution to make that happen. The company does not suspect insider involvement in the attack. Of the 173,600 Ether stolen, 56,000 belong to the Axie Infinity treasury, the rest belonging to players and speculators. Possible solutions involve selling Axie-related tokens in bulk at a discount or selling company equity to raise cash.
Okay, so we actually covered this story yesterday. It's being reported between $540 million and $640 million of this Ethereum theft from this Axie Infinity platform, and it has something to do with like a Ronin bridge. I don't know these terms. All I know is some threat actor did something, and they stole over $500 million, which is so much money, right? So what is really interesting in this story is that Axie Infinity has come out and said that they will reimburse any victim who lost their money. This is impressive. The first thing that I thought of with this is, holy crap, Axie Infinity has enough money to reimburse $500 million of losses. How much money do they have? Like, what? So if you have to think, like, it must be worth it to them because the trust of their platform's integrity is based on being able to protect the money and access of their customers, right? So if they had this massive breach, it's a total erosion of confidence. You want to talk about real reputational harm from a cyber attack's impact? This is one of those. So like, think about the numbers here. Someone at this company or some group of people at this company made the conscious decision that it was a better investment to spend $500 million to reimburse people than it was to just shut the business down or just let it ride and see what happens. So they must be making more than $500 million from the business, right? So it's just crazy wild money. I am glad that they are reimbursing people. They are absolutely not obligated to do that. They may have received a class action lawsuit if they didn't, but I would assume in the terms and conditions when you sign up for this platform, it says that this is like a high risk and you're in a hot mess. Yeah, deep pockets is right, Kimberly. So whatever, man. The crypto world is crazy. I didn't get my audio. Come on. I was going to play my crypto or my straight cash, homie, but I'm not getting that right now. Oh, well. Let's keep going.
Google reports on Ukraine war-related hacking. According to the Google Threat Analysis Group, government-backed actors across China, North Korea, Iran, and Russia have used themes around the war in Ukraine in malicious phishing and malware attacks. These include browser-in-the-browser attacks from the Belarusian-backed group Ghostwriter, the Chinese-backed Curious George group targeting military organizations in Ukraine, Russia, and Mongolia, and Russian-backed groups targeting a NATO Center of Excellence and Eastern European militaries. Google also continued to observe multiple ransomware brokers continuing to operate with business as usual practices.
Okay. So, basically this is what it is, right? So, Ukraine's got the IT army, Russia's got its threat actors. There's very much, people have chosen sides in this conflict. And all they're saying is that Google's threat actor group or research group, the TAG group, which I think is like Cisco Talos or any of these other kind of advanced threat intelligence research groups. They do good work. I think Google does great work. Project Zero does great work. They're basically reporting and seeing that there's all these attacks on NATO, which shouldn't surprise anyone, right? NATO is getting involved in this conflict in some capacities. So getting access to them maybe crippling them from an IT perspective, cyber war type perspective. Totally makes sense. I mean, you could write the playbook up and see that this is going to happen, right? So, no surprise. Obviously, you would hope that NATO and the military forces associated with NATO and the politicians associated with NATO are all on heightened awareness. They're operating with great operational security. Let's say not DEFCON 1, but like turn the dial on all of the auditing, logging, and threat intelligence. Don't assume anything is a false positive, et cetera, et cetera. So no surprise here, but interesting to see.
You're looking for a perfect complement to.
Oh yeah, definitely looking. Oh, what happened there? Great show today, guys. I want to tell you a couple things. First of all, Victor Padilla, no problem being late to the party, man. If you're here because you were late because of your new cybersecurity job, wicked pumped for you, man. Congratulations. So happy. Thanks for being a squad member. Thanks for being a member of the Simply Cyber community, and congratulations to you and everybody that has broken into the industry. I'm really, really happy for you. Genuinely happy. Guys, really quick, I know some of you did Java with Josh. I want to remind all of you, Ms. Jack Scott of Outpost Gray also recently announced her partnership with Grant Thornton. She's got a live stream today at 3:30 talking about how to negotiate with a cyber threat actor. Very interesting conversation. Definitely going to be worth it. If you're around, go check out Jax's stream at 3:30 Eastern time. If you're around at 4:30 Eastern time and you are all about Simply Cyber, may I recommend coming by and learning reverse engineering like a boss from Dr. Josh Stroshine, who is an absolute beast when it comes to not just understanding malware analysis and ripping binaries apart, but also how to communicate effectively and educate individuals on this space. So we're going to pick his big brain, and we're going to open up IDA probably. He's a big IDA guy. And tear open a binary and get after it. Your Q&A, obviously, will be answering all your questions, so you can dig into that. And I genuinely appreciate it. Guys, I want to say one other thing. See if my sounder plays. Oh, there we go. That was for Christopher Word. I play that when we get squad memberships. Thank you so much, Christopher. Enjoy you being part of the community. To all of you, thank you all so much for being here. I hope you have a wonderful Thursday. Tomorrow, Friday, April 1st, no April Fool's jokes on Simply Cyber, guys. We'll be here at 8 a.m. sharp Eastern Standard Time, delivering hot takes and rounding out the week. Y'all be good. I wish you all the best, and we'll talk tomorrow. Where's my thing? Later, everybody.